1970年，航空业正处于转折点，波音巨型747机型抢占了头条。但此时，另外一种新机型正在酝酿之中。对大多数航空公司来说，波音747飞机太大，座位太多，燃油消耗太高，风险也太大。航空公司需要一种更小、更精简，但依然革命性的飞机，那就是麦克唐纳·道格拉斯 Dc10。他们的 Dc10将带来宽体积的舒适感，配备3台强劲发动机。相比较于波音747来说，它的运营成本更低。它被宣传为能够战胜波音的喷气式客机，并且还击败了洛克希德的竞争对手 TriStar。这本应是麦克唐纳·道格拉斯的巅峰之作，结果却成了航空史上最黑暗的警示故事之一。这就是 Dc10的故事。这架喷气式客机曾辉煌一时，可最后却以悲剧收场，并永远改变了天空。故事始于1967年，波音747即将首次亮相，全世界都在关注这位巨人。他能载400名乘客，但造价惊人。航空公司持怀疑态度，大多数看到747时都会有同样的想法：我们需要一款更小的飞机。竞赛开始了，要制造出完美的宽体飞机，比窄体飞机更大，但效率远超747。有2个主要竞争者脱颖而出，洛克希德推出其优雅的 L1011 TriStar， 麦克唐纳·道格拉斯则带来了 Dc10。麦克唐纳·道格拉斯做出了大胆的战略赌注。当竞争对手们尝试双发动机设计时，他们选择了3台发动机。为什么？因为在1970年代，ETOPS 是一个巨大的障碍。双发动机飞机失去一个发动机后，可能无法飞到备降机场。监管机构不允许那些喷气式飞机跨越海洋或飞行某些偏远航线。但并非所有人都赞同。在欧洲，一个名为 Airbus 的新公司正在悄然开发 A300。这是世界上第一款双发动机宽体客机。当时，大多数航空公司都不看好它。由于 ETOPS 的限制，双发动机喷气式飞机在长途飞行上似乎没有出路。但从长远来看，它将成为未来发展的趋势。对于麦克唐纳·道格拉斯来说，3台发动机是最佳选择，既有足够的冗余性，几乎能飞往任何地方，同时比4发动机巨型飞机更高效。Dc10的3引擎设计被视为圣杯，燃油消耗低于747，比双发飞机航程更远，能自由飞行几乎所有航线。对航空公司而言，这正合适。很快，美国航空成为首批客户，订购了25架 Dc10用于跨大陆航线，联合航空紧接着订购了30架，大陆航空订购了15架。这些不仅仅是采购，而是对航空未来的投资押注。麦克唐纳·道格拉斯以惊人的速度，从1967年的开始首次申请，紧接着1970年便进行了首飞，最后1971年投入商业运营，仅用了4年时间。这一紧凑的时间表，这给波音带来了巨大压力，也迫使洛克希德加快了其竞争机型3叉星的研发。这里有一个大多数人忽略的细节 ：Dc10的货舱。麦克唐纳·道格拉斯设计它时，考虑的非常宽敞和规整，这样的设计提升了航空公司的收入潜力。那时，这看起来是一个聪明的优势。后来，这一设计被证明是灾难性的。到1973年 ，Dc10已经成为全球长途机队的中坚力量。荷兰皇家航空公司驾驶它们横跨大西洋，日本航空公司穿越太平洋，瑞士航空公司则在欧洲各地使用。麦克唐纳·道格拉斯相信 Dc10会巩固他们的市场主导地位，超越波音和洛克希德，确立了其作为世界顶级飞机制造商的地位。未来看似无限，但革命性的飞机需要革命性的解决方案，而有些解决方案伴随着潜在的危险。大多数飞机的货舱门是向内开启的，由客舱压力保持关闭，这是一种自然的安全设计。Dc10的货舱门则是向外开启，向外开启以最大化利用宝贵货舱空间。这种向外开启的设计需要一个万无一失的锁定机制，门栓和销钉必须承受巨大的压力。由于飞机在巡航时存在内外压力差，如果该系统失效，爆炸性减压可能会在几秒钟内摧毁飞机。
Could destroy the aircraft in seconds. Enter Dan Applegate.This McDonnell Douglas engineer, he understood the physics of the door better than anyone. In 1971, he wrote an internal memo that should have stopped everything. The cargo door locking mechanism, he warns, is dangerously unreliable. His words are prophetic. If the door blows out, explosive decompression will collapse the cabin floor and sever critical flight control cables. But corporate culture reveals its true nature. Applegate's memo disappears into company bureaucracy. McDonnell Douglas is hemorrhaging money, racing to capture market share from Boeing and Lockheed. The L-1011 is breathing down their necks. Orders are at stake. Redesigning the door system, that would mean catastrophic delays. Cost and schedule pressures win. Safety concerns lose. Then reality intrudes. American Airlines Flight 96, a DC-10, departing Detroit for Buffalo with 67 people on board, climbing through 11,000 feet when Applegate's nightmare becomes real. The cargo door blows out with explosive force. The cabin floor partially collapses, jamming flight controls exactly as Applegate predicted. Captain Bryce McCormick and his crew fight compromised systems, nursing the crippled DC-10 back to Detroit Metro Airport. Their airmanship saves every life aboard. The NTSB investigates and confirms the obvious. The cargo door latch mechanism failed catastrophically. This should trigger immediate design changes across entire DC-10 fleet. Instead, McDonnell Douglas implements what they call fixes. They install small viewing windows so ground crews can peek inside to check if doors are properly latched. They strengthen vent valves and issue advisory bulletins. But these are suggestions, not mandates. The fundamental flaw Applegate identified, it remains unchanged. For nearly 2 years, hundreds of DC-10s continue flying with this known vulnerability. Airlines perform inspections, crews check the little windows, but the underlying design defect stays exactly the same. The aviation industry is playing Russian roulette at 38,000 feet. And somewhere in the world, another DC-10 cargo door is waiting to fail. March 3rd, 1974. Turkish Airlines Flight 981 pushes back from Paris Orly Airport on a Sunday morning. On board are 346 passengers and crew. The flight had originated in Istanbul and was scheduled to continue onto its final destination, London, with Paris as a planned stop along the way, a common practice at the time. It should have been a routine 90-minute flight. In the cargo hold, a Turkish Airlines ground crew member struggles with the DC-10's complex door mechanism. The latches appear closed, the viewing window looks normal, but the locking pins, they're slightly misaligned. It's exactly the scenario Dan Applegate warned about 3 years earlier. Flight 981 climbs normally through French airspace. 13 minutes after takeoff, at 23,000 feet, physics takes over. The pressure differential overwhelms the misaligned latches. The cargo door explodes outward into the slipstream. Unlike Flight 96's partial floor collapse, this failure is total. The cabin floor pancakes downward, severing hydraulic lines, flight control cables, and electrical systems. The pilots lose all control inputs. The DC-10 becomes an uncontrollable projectile. 6 minutes later, Flight 981 impacts the Ermenonville forest in France. The destruction is absolute. No survivors among the 346 souls aboard. At the time, it's the deadliest aviation accident in history. The global aviation industry reels in shock. Death Jet and Flying Coffin dominate headlines from London to Tokyo. Passengers worldwide refuse to board DC-10s. Travel agents report that up to 30% of passengers specifically request no DC-10s when booking flights. Some airlines quietly begin referring to DC-10s by flight number only in announcements, avoiding mention of the aircraft type. French investigators quickly identify the cause, the same cargo door flaw that nearly destroyed Flight 96. Dan Applegate's buried memo resurfaces, its warnings now tragically vindicated. The engineer who tried to prevent this massacre becomes a symbol of corporate whistleblowing and the deadly cost of ignoring safety concerns. For McDonnell Douglas, the incident is potentially catastrophic. Stock prices plummet, orders are cancelled, their reputation as a safety-conscious manufacturer lies in ruins. The company that believed the DC-10 would secure their dominance now fights for survival. But this is just the beginning of the DC-10's troubles. McDonnell Douglas then scrambles to fix the cargo door problem. They completely redesign the system with redundant latches, backup systems, and cockpit warning lights. By late 1974, the DC-10 returned to service with genuinely improved safety systems, but public confidence is shattered beyond repair. The death jet stigma proves nearly impossible to overcome despite genuine safety improvements. Then, disaster strikes again. May 25th, 1979, American Airlines Flight 191, a DC-10 bound for Los Angeles, begins its takeoff roll from Chicago O'Hare on a clear Friday afternoon. 271 people aboard, trusting the aircraft's rebuilt reputation. During the initial climb, witnesses watch in horror as something impossible happens. The left engine separates completely from the wing. The massive General Electric CF6 engine, weighing 13,500 pounds, tumbles across the runway as the DC-10 continues climbing. But the aircraft is now fatally damaged. The engine system severs hydraulic lines controlling the wing's leading edge slats. On the damaged left wing, slats retract, while on the right wing, slats remain extended. This creates a catastrophic aerodynamic imbalance. The DC-10 banks left, stalls, and rolls inverted. 31 seconds after engine separation, Flight 191 crashes into an open field near the airport. All 271 aboard perish, plus 2 on the ground. It became the deadliest aviation accident in US history, a grim record it holds to this day. The investigation reveals that American Airlines used an unauthorized maintenance shortcut. Maintenance engineers removed the engine and pylon as a single unit with a forklift instead of following proper procedures. This time-saving method created microscopic stress fractures that led to catastrophic structural failure. While this accident was caused by maintenance errors rather than design flaws, the public makes no such distinctions. Following the incident, every US-operated DC-10 is grounded. By late 1979, the DC-10 had been involved in 3 fatal accidents within 6 years, an unprecedented rate for a modern airliner. Airlines lose confidence not just in the aircraft, but in McDonnell Douglas itself. Orders for new DC-10s evaporate as carriers perceive the manufacturer as cutting corners. The reputation damage proves irreversible. Flight 191 wasn't the DC-10's only 1979 disaster. Just 5 months later, Western Airlines Flight 2605 approached Mexico City International Airport through dense fog. Due to a communications breakdown, the DC-10 landed on a closed runway, undergoing maintenance work, striking construction vehicles, and bursting into flames. 72 people died in what became Mexico's deadliest aviation accident at the time. This wasn't design flaw, it was pilot error and poor communication. But for a public already suspicious of the DC-10, it didn't matter. 3 fatal DC-10 accidents in 1 year created a narrative of a cursed aircraft that transcended rational analysis. The pattern had started earlier. In 1973, just months after the first cargo door incident, National Airlines Flight 27 experienced an uncontained engine failure at cruising altitude. Engine debris shattered a cabin window, and 1 passenger was explosively decompressed and killed. Each incident, regardless of cause, reinforced the growing perception that the DC-10 was dangerous. Aviation experts understood the distinction between design flaws and operational accidents, but the traveling public saw only a deadly pattern. The media amplified this narrative. Every DC-10 incident received disproportionate coverage compared to similar accidents involving other aircraft types. McDonnell Douglas found themselves fighting not just technical problems, but a public relations war they couldn't win. Remember ETOPS, the regulation that made 3 engines essential? It's evolving rapidly. New technology has allowed twin-engine aircraft to fly increasingly long routes over oceans. The DC-10's third engine, once its greatest advantage, becomes an expensive liability. Modern twins prove more fuel-efficient and reliable. Boeing's 767, introduced in 1982, captures the market the DC-10 was designed to dominate. Later, the 777 became everything the DC-10 promised to be: efficient, reliable, and trusted by passengers. The trijet market doesn't just decline, it collapses. Lockheed, already reeling from weak L-1011 sales and troubled engines, announces its exit from commercial aviation altogether. The TriStar proved that even brilliant engineering couldn't overcome poor timing and limited demand. Alongside the DC-10, it